WMNF Tampa. I'm your host, Ken Apperson. We are live in studio with Vagabond Tweed. How you guys doing?
Good. How you doing?
Thanks for having us.
I'm so happy to have you guys back. I love the sound, the Americana. It's like folky Americana. Like I could drive across the country listening to Vagabond Tweed, assuming you had enough songs. I don't know if you have enough.
You can put them on repeat.
Yeah, we'll just hit the repeat button. That's good. So they're going to play some music. We're going to get to know them. You guys are going to hang out with us here on WMNF 88.5 FM and in the live stream on Facebook and on YouTube. On Facebook, it's WMNF's live music showcase, and on YouTube, it's just WMNF. Let's hear your first song. What's the first one called?
First one is, it's funny you talk about driving across the country. The first one's Halfway to Oregon.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
So we're halfway there.
It's a little song about, people that, somebody who moved here and just couldn't deal with all of the conservative politics, so they had to turn right back around and move back to Oregon. So it's a little play on that story.
Take it away.
All right.
3, 4.
classic Americana sound there. Vagabond Tweed here on Live Music Showcase. Yeah, man, I could definitely run out of gas listening to that song for sure. I mean, a certain individual. Is it you?
It could be. I don't know.
That's fair.
Seems like I'm about to get accused of something here. So
Not at all.
Go ahead. Fire away.
Not at all. The only thing I would accuse you of is wanting to live in Oregon, which, frankly, I think sounds magical. The place looks like freaking, fantasy land, where on one hand it could be Lord of the Rings, on the other hand it could be, the forest moon of Endor in Return of the Jedi, although that's actually the Redwoods in San Francisco, but I digress. So do you do a lot of writing about driving? Because like listening to the music, like that's where this is coming from. I hear it and I'm like, I just want to get in a classic muscle car with the top down and just drive. Yeah. And the funny thing is, that used to be like a thing you did. You just got in your car, turned on some music, and just drove.
I mean, that's all I did growing up. Like once I had my car, it was like it didn't matter how bad how crappy the car was. As long as the stereo worked and you couldn't hear all the suspension parts rattling around, you're like, okay, cool. And we grew up in the times when you had cassettes, or you might have had a CD player, which probably wasn't as good as a cassette because it would skip when you go over the bumps.
Yep. Or you'd have the cassette
8-track
adapter.
Yeah,
that goes into the cassette player, but it hooks up to your CD player, yep. And then your passenger is required to hold the CD player steady, so that it wouldn't skip. That was the job of the passenger.
Yep.
Yeah.
And to switch the CDs out.
And switch the CDs out, right? Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's a great question though. So I spend a lot of time driving for things that I do. I've been working for a whole bunch of different companies here in Florida, and I work in the storm industry, which can be a bit of a cesspool, insurance and construction, and I know that's a hot button issue here in Florida. We actually have a song about it that we'll get to later on called Blackwater Rising. And then, getting back to your question about, we've got another song here called Long Road Ahead. So
yeah, see?
I guess so. I think you hit it right on, hit the nail right on the head
there
with
you
that
go.
question. But
your next album should be called American Music for Driving.
Okay, yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Honestly,
I'll accept royalties for that name title.
He's onto something here, because our first album cover is actually a road.
Oh yeah.
You think about it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which road is it?
It's just a road.
It's the
It
road
could be
less
any
traveled.
road. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's somewhere between here and Oregon.
That's right.
Guaranteed.
About halfway.
Because
narrowing
it
it
does
down.
have some mountains in there, so
Yeah.
could be West Texas, maybe it's Nevada, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so what's the next song called?
This song title is Big Bang.
Okay.
So it's about the beginning of the universe, back when you and I were just pieces of light.
I thought for sure you were going to be like, it's about this woman I met at a bar, and she's a little on the larger. No, I'm just
That's
kidding.
the underlying
Of
story.
course, yeah. That's the creation of everything right
Right.
there. No, please, the Big Bang. I mean, that's one of the most interesting and these days controversial theories
Is
ever,
it?
which it shouldn't be. But
I didn't know. Well, I guess nobody was there, so you can't really know for sure, right?
that's true. That's a good point. Technically, it's supposedly happening right now, simultaneously, with the
Interesting.
passage of time. The closer you get to the origin of the universe, the closer you get to the actual time when it began. That's how space-time works somehow, some way. I don't know. I'm not the guy. Ask Neil deGrasse Tyson. But, unless you're Douglas Adams. Yes, thank you. Yes, Mark. Yes.
That sounds like the end of the road. Or maybe it's the beginning. I don't know.
Hey, man. Every ending is its own beginning, right? Or whatever Semisonic said. So so go ahead and take it away.
All right.
Let's hear it.
Cool.
Big Bang, Vagabond Tweed. Yeah, that's a thinker. That's a thinker right there. That's like when after things have kind of peaked and then you're kind of like on the come down, you get that clarity. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Shame on you. No. I'm just kidding. Great guitar solo too.
Thank you, man.
There's always something to be said about a guitarist who knows how to not play all the notes.
Amen to that.
Mhm.
And that is my poor man's attempt at David Gilmour, to be honest with you. You know, in this stage of my life, my guitar heroes are the guys that with the phrasing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, I could talk about that for an hour, but
Yeah.
the reality is, I don't think that anyone but me would enjoy it. Yeah, I agree. Let's introduce the band. So we've got Daniel Dean on lead vocals. You want to go around and introduce the rest of the band members for everyone?
Yeah, sure. These guys are like my brothers. We've been doing this for a couple years now, and I know last time we were on the show, it was a little bit of a different lineup.
Yep.
And Jason Dukas was on bass.
He was
before, and we've recently added Dave Stearns, Mr. Dave Stearns, and he's a multi-instrumentalist. So is Jason,
Mm-hmm.
and so is Ryan Calabrese back here in the drum booth.
Yep.
Hey guys. I see you.
And
Hey, Ray.
so it makes it a lot of fun when we get together and we're writing songs, and we have the ability to paint with a lot of colors on the canvas.
Yeah.
So Dave, we did a gig the other night, and Dave was on mandolin like half the night, and it's always kind of something different. We don't know exactly what to expect, how the songs are going to come out. And I think that's the difference between being in a band and being a songwriter. When you're a songwriter, you want to be the boss and you want to tell everybody, well, this is what my songs, I want them to sound like, And a lot of times with certain songs that I've written in the back of my mind, I think I know what I want that song to sound like, but then when I bring it to the band, it becomes something different. And, sometimes there's things that like I love, and then there's some ideas that come to the table that I get outvoted on, no, we're keeping that. Like, what are you talking about? So it's just fun to play with people who can listen to what you do, and they also get to have a creative outlet and be a part of molding the clay. Chaz and I have kind of been together since the beginning, and he's really taught me a lot about how to put together songs and how to like not overplay and build a song. We've got another friend up in Brooksville by the name of Blaisdell, Jim Blaisdell. He recorded our first album about a year and a half ago, and that was also like a big learning experience for me. And because you think you know what things sound like, but it's just so great to have other people's opinions come into the mix with whatever you're doing in life.
Sure.
Because together you're always more powerful. 1 + 1 = 3.
Well, I would say as a songwriter, the hardest obstacle is objectivity. When you're a songwriter, when you're on your own, writing on your own by yourself, your only perspective is your own. And then beyond that, when you start, when you have enough confidence with a piece of work to go, okay, I think I'm ready to show this to some people. I think it's good enough that I can show it to some people. You have to be really careful who you show it to. Because for one thing, there are different kinds of feedback that are constructive, and some are constructive, some are not, and that's not dependent on whether or not it's positive or negative. Like you can show it to your wife or your girlfriend, and they go, oh my God, I love it, it's so good, it's so good, it's so good. That's great. That's not actually constructive, though. Right. That's just a good little attaboy, and that's good.
Yeah.
It tells you maybe you're going in the right direction. I always say, when you're a songwriter and you want some feedback, show it to someone that already listens to music that it fits with. Like if they're listening to bands that you could get on stage and open for and it would make sense, then that's the person you should be looking for feedback from. Not to say they're going to go, oh, it sounds just like blah, blah, blah. They might,
Yeah.
but the reality is it's a matter of taste. Like, you're not going to take your songs and take them to a death metal head who's only into death metal and say, hey, man, what do you think? They're going to go, well, it's not death metal.
Yeah.
Not into it.
Yeah.
Which, again, is not constructive. It's not going to help you one way or the other. All of that to say, the collaborative energy of a band is so conducive for writing good music, because when you get into a room of players who you respect and you trust, not only with their instruments but with their perspectives on the music, you end up with a collective where you're not afraid to let go of an idea that you thought was good that the collective doesn't agree with, because you trust the group.
Yeah,
And
the greater good.
the greater good.
Yep.
The big bang. Yep, absolutely.
Well done.
So what's the next song?
So the next song is titled Blackwater Rising.
And this is the one
It's a song that I wrote.
about Florida insurance.
Well, it's just really about so I go into these hurricanes with, day or two after, and I help people with their insurance claims, and I work with a bunch of different contractors, and I've just seen so many people just get ripped off, and it's like the black water's rising, it's coming to get you. And I think nowadays people just have to be really smart. They have to be storm smart. They have to know, if they have a property, how are they going to protect it? How are they going to insure it? And who's going to show up to put your roof back on when it's sitting in the parking lot? And, with what I do on the daily, I audited $21 million worth of restoration bills last year. And my valuations came in at half the money they were trying to charge for what they were doing.
Wow.
And I've seen all kinds of crazy cowboy stuff that I slept in the bayou for a couple nights down in Louisiana on a porch, just getting eaten by mosquitoes because there was nowhere to be. I know a bunch of crazy gypsy roofers, and the stories just go on and
That's
on.
the next
So,
song. That's a good song.
Yeah.
Gypsy roofers.
Yeah.
Write that
Crazy
down.
gypsy
Yeah,
roofer.
write that
Yeah,
one down.
that's not bad. Yeah.
But
That's wild, man.
It's fun. It's just I was a teacher for a while, and I just I had to get out of that cage after 10 years, and
Yeah.
ever since then I've just been out chasing storms and meeting lots of characters, and I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Well, take it away.
All right, thank you. There's a new kind of weather that's no denying. People getting rich while others crying. We're all making money, so quit your crying. Sign your name on the line if you're buying. Black water rising up to your knees and your thighs. Let me put my hand in your cookie jar. Let me remind you where you are. Standing on the rubble on a sea of doubt. Sign your name on the line, I can get you out. Black water rising up to your knees and your thighs. Hurricane like a heavy breeze. Whole lot of money raining from the sky. Justice come to make amends. Here to delay, deny, defend. The only ones who win in the end. The lawyers and the bankers and the government. Black water rising up to your knees and your thighs.
Blackwater Rising. Vagabond Tweed here on Live Music Showcase. We are live every week on Fridays at 2 o'clock after the news headlines. You can listen to our show on 88.5 FM. You can listen to our show on WMNF.org, or you can watch the show live on Facebook or YouTube. You might be watching right now. If you are watching right now, thank you very much. Much appreciated. I only ask that you hit that share button. Let's get a big old audience for Vagabond Tweed, who's going to be playing a whole bunch more music here coming up. But first, we're at the halfway point, which means we have reached the AMA, Ask Musicians Anything segment of the show. Yeah, this is a new segment of the show. Yep, since the last time you guys were on.
You were going to say we get to ask you a question.
You know what? I'm always game for that.
How long
Please.
have you guys been doing this?
By all means. So in 1 second, we will get to that. But yes. So I've got three voices in my head, and two of them are also me. If you want to ask the band any questions or share any comments that you'd like with the band, with the show, with WMNF, whatever you want, you can call right now, 813-239-9663. That number again is 813-239-9663. Our wonderful board op, Charlie, will take your call. He'll take your question. He'll send them on over to me. And at the end of the show, I will ask those questions and share those comments with and of Vagabond Tweed here in studio. Or, if you're watching the live stream right now, you can just leave a comment. I love sharing comments live. Let's see. We've got right here. We got Kaylee Baker, actually, who was from Someday Honey, who was on the show last week. She's actually watching. So sounds great. Let's see. Marshall says, sounds awesome. And then Taylor Louise says, love your sound, VT.
Thanks. That's great.
So there you go. Yeah, we got some people watching right now. Love it. Yeah. So to answer your question, that some version of Live Music Showcase has existed for how long again, Mark? Since 1997. Wow. So there's been some version of this show since 1997. I've been doing this show for just over 3 years. My 3-year anniversary was actually last month. So that
Congrats.
was pretty cool.
That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. And, the station has been around for, what are we at, 44 years this year? 45 in September, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And all listener-supported, listener-funded. And, I mean, when this station first got started, I don't know if you guys know this listening, but it was a door-to-door campaign. They went door-to-door asking for donations to get this station started. I believe it started in someone's house, right? With a homemade soundboard. That still hangs in the lobby.
Oh, that's cool.
It's in a frame out there. And the original library was the bathtub. Yeah. So there you go. A little bit of
You guys
history
have come
about
quite a long way.
WMNF. Yeah, it's come a long way, and couldn't have without the support of all the wonderful listeners who support the show and support the radio station every day. All right. So back to you guys, though. Back to Vagabond Tweed. I'm curious. We've got a lot of driving music. That does seem to be the theme. Who works on cars? Anybody work on cars? I knew it. I knew there was going to be at least one or two of you guys that were like working on cars.
Yeah, mostly out of necessity.
Mostly out of necessity. I don't think his mic is on, Mark. Mostly out of necessity.
Yes, that's
there
correct.
it is. All right. Yeah, mostly out of necessity. I mean, that's the day and age we live in, right?
You're right.
It's a lot cheaper to learn how to work on a car these days than it is to buy a new one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's your least favorite thing on your car to work on?
Probably anything under the hood.
Anything under the hood. So you're a suspension. You're good with the
No,
suspension.
I'm
the
kidding
brakes.
because my current car is a Mini Cooper and it's impossible to get to a lot of the components. So my current car, really, I don't do much. I would change the oil, but I've had many clunkers in the past that I did everything on,
Yeah, I was going to say Mini Coopers. Yeah, they have a army of hamsters and gerbils that work on those cars. That's the only way to get into them.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. All right, so what's the next song called?
So the next song is called Peach.
All right.
And it's a song that we wrote about the late, great Dwayne Allman.
Oh, wow.
So,
Man, that's great.
Yeah, it's a song we wrote about Dwayne Allman, and it's called Peach.
Yeah.
And it's mostly collaboration. Chaz wrote the music, and we eventually came up with the lyrics that we're staying with now. So
That's the way it goes.
Yeah,
I love it. Take it away.
Thank you. for peace in Georgia before you reach those pearly gates. People smoking down the highway on a bike too fast for 60. Then it was long gone. Born free highway gypsy. It was long gone. It broke the heart of that old Dixie. Eat a peach for peace in Georgia before you moving on too quickly. Scatterbound for blue sky, from muscle shoals on the big house. Then it was long gone. Never made it through that day. It was long gone. Played his licks and was on his way. Eat a peach for peace in Georgia before you reach those pearly gates. Eat a peach for peace in Georgia before they lay you in the clay.
Vagabond Tweed here on Live Music Showcase. Very, very nice. Yeah, it's just more driving music, man. I'm gonna keep coming back to it. Yeah, like I'm dying to know, like if you're watching the live stream right now, and if you're listening right now, you're participating in the AMA, which we already have some people that have called in and had some comments and some questions. By the way, there was one that came in. Mark, kudos to the sound guy. Says it sounds fantastic today. All right, confirmation.
We like
Very
that
good.
too. Thank
Always love that comment. Yeah, it never gets old. But no, I know you guys are recording,
Yes.
right? You're in the process of recording.
you. Yeah.
Tell me about the hardest part of recording as Vagabond Tweed right now.
I'd say that's easy. It's just schedules. You know,
Yeah.
we're all like working professionals, and we have our day gigs, and then we have our gigs that we do at night. So nailing people down to a schedule,
Yeah.
and then
No.
I was,
No, I
you don't
disagree.
think so?
I disagree.
What
You
do
don't think that's
think
the
it is?
hardest part?
No.
What is it?
It's hard. You have to get everything perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
Oh,
and
yeah.
if it's like a nanosecond off, we got to redo it because we're all so pedantic and overly detailed. So we want it to be
Right.
perfect.
So I'm going to disagree with that because as a person who spent years and thousands of dollars in a studio recording something that I ultimately never released because I wanted it to be too perfect, and then when it was done, it was too perfect, i.e. like the charm, especially of this kind of music, is the flaws, you know?
Sure.
Guitars don't sound like guitars if the strings don't bend.
Right.
Guitars don't, fun fact about guitars to any of you out there listening right now, every time a guitar string is plucked, it is for a fraction of a second out of tune and then settles into its wavelength to be in tune. And therefore, one of the fundamental qualities of a guitar sound is imperfection. And the way that they discovered that was at the golden age of MIDI instruments and MIDI plug-in instruments and the development of that technology. The only way that they could create those instruments was by recording them in a million different ways in different rooms and different instruments and all that stuff. And they figured out that if they made it sound too perfect, it wasn't believable. And it didn't sound like the instrument they were recording. It sounded like a synthesizer, which it was. Suffice to say, a little bit
for sure.
of flaw, a little bit of wiggle room in there.
For sure.
Makes it real.
Yeah.
So I will add that, I've been doing this my whole life. I've been in Tampa Bay playing with various bands for 20 years now. Mostly, I've done everything. I will say, since I met Daniel and got together with these guys, the material is the easy part. I mean, we write all the time. It just blows my mind. I mean, we rehearse at my studio at my house, and a lot of times I just mic up the room, just let it roll.
That's great.
And we'll do, if we're preparing for a gig or whatever, we'll go through the set. But then he starts into something that we've never heard before, and we all jump in. And 10 minutes later, it's like,
I guess we're doing this now.
that was amazing. So the creation of material comes together so easily with these guys.
Sure.
It's something I've never experienced.
Daniel talks in song lyrics.
Oh.
Like that's it, just the way that he would has conversations.
That's fun.
So he'll say something, I'll be like, write that down. Write that phrase down. That's fantastic. Gypsy, there you go.
Gypsy
That's what I'm
Roofer,
talking
yeah.
about, stuff like that. In
Yeah.
fact, I'll tell you what. Do you want to do something just off the cuff, just for fun?
I mean,
You know that song that we were playing with for no reason?
Yeah.
Would you like to?
Yeah, I love that.
So, but
Let's
listen,
do
though,
it.
but-
Live show, everyone. Disclaimer.
go.
This
All right.
is a live show.
But
yeah.
we're just gonna find it and figure it out, and we'll just see how it goes. We did this a few nights ago just for fun.
Yeah.
He came up with lyrics on the spot, and then we
Yeah.
were like, let's try that.
Yeah, man.
You
Go
wanna,
for it.
Want to try it?
Yeah.
Do
I
we
wouldn't
have-
do this with hardly any other band. I like you guys.
Great.
I think you guys are great. And
Do we have even a title, a working title?
so
for
if
it?
you're listening to this live right now, this is they're doing a
No.
live, never
Yeah.
performed before song.
And it's A minor G F for those of you at home that
Following
want
so
to
if you're
play
playing
along.
along at home, yeah, grab your
Thanks,
guitar
I
and your
needed that.
mandolin.
All right,
There's
let's
no
try.
songs with those three
And if you're
chords, by
listening
the
in
way.
podcast form in the future, this was recorded live. So same
Great.
deal, same diff.
All right,
Take it away.
Thank you.
What is this song's working title?
Do we have one?
I don't even know.
It's Gypsy Roofers.
Gypsy
No.
Roofers.
I love it. Love it.
That's pretty close. Found a place for my things underneath the bridge. I wish I had a better way to live. Begging for dollars in the middle of the street. Holding this sign, burning in the heat. Burning in the heat. Looking back on everything went wrong. Trying to fix this broken home. Did my best, put the hammer to the nail.
Yeah.
Gypsy Roofers.
Those are such good lyrics. Good Lord.
Out of nowhere, he comes up with these things.
Out of nowhere.
Honestly, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's out of nowhere. You just you take a look around and you see what's going on in the world right now, and I think we need more songs that are like serious about issues. You know, like what are we gonna do about it? Like we have all these people that can't even afford to live anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I for one think that more of us need to be out there doing things and helping people out and fighting for justice and fighting for what's right. You know, it doesn't really matter what side of the equation you're on. You know, I don't want to see my brothers and sisters out in the cold, out in the heat, out there having to, you know, beg for money. And there's a lot of reasons why we're seeing those situations come about. And it's really time for us to realize that we don't have a government that's going to, you know, take care of people, and it's up to us. It's up to our community organizers. It's up to you and I to go out and go make a difference.
You know, I talk about this on the show with some regularity, and Mark, feel free to stop me if you're sick of hearing it too. But you know, and maybe it sounds corny, but I really believe this. I think that music is like the last real version of magic that exists in the world, and the magic of it is that it inspires and it galvanizes. It pulls from you a feeling of I need to get up and do something versus, you know, just sitting and being complacent. It can do that if it's the right music, if it's the right song. And you look at history, you look at Bob Dylan during the Vietnam War and Bob Marley. You know, you look at the musicians, John Lennon, who inspired people enough that other people thought that they were a genuine threat to society and tried to assassinate them successfully in John Lennon's case. And it's just amazing to me that there's so much music out there right now and so many musicians with platforms, and they could use that platform for powerful good. And maybe they should. And maybe for the rest of us out there that are writing music, maybe it's time to stop writing music that is mass appeal and time to start writing music again that, you know, instead of music to dance to, maybe it's music to march to. I don't know. We'll see how things go.
That's a nice phrase.
Yeah, well, you know, things are getting dark out there, but one way or another, music is always going to be there for us, one way or another. Whether it's a guitar around a campfire or it's an old CD playing in a CD player while you're driving down the road. All right, so we have just a little bit more time left. We do have some wonderful people making comments in the live stream. Jim says Stormy Dan and the Gypsy Roofers.
Like it.
There you go.
Thanks.
That's your alter ego band name.
Love
That's
it.
perfect. Yeah.
Stormy.
And Taylor says killed it.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
So that's awesome. All right. So I think we have enough time for maybe like two more if you guys have them.
Yeah,
What do you say?
Sure.
We've always got more.
If not, you just make it up. There you go. Well, take it away. What's this one called?
This one's called Long Road Ahead. And it's one that I wrote probably like 5 years ago now.
Love it.
And it hasn't really come together until I met these guys. So here it goes. Long road ahead, never gonna conquer you. Say you're gonna see it through until you find the end. Old country road, driving off all alone. Nothing more than cows and crows to guide you home. You've been out on the road so long, Not sure where to turn from here. Just isn't clear. Just isn't clear. Whole road is wise, helps you to clear your mind. Learn to read between the lines of wrong and right. End is coming soon. Hard to believe it's true. So easily continue down a winding road. You've been out on the road so long. Not sure where to turn from here. Just isn't clear. Just isn't clear. Long ago, down that country road. All you got, all you leave behind. Long ago, down that country road. All you find, all you leave behind.
Vagabond Tweed here on Live Music Showcase. We're coming up to the end of the show, but don't worry, we're not quite finished yet. We still have the AMA questions and comments to get to. But before we go and before we run out of time, credit where credit is due. This show takes an entire team of people behind the scenes making sure that it looks and sounds as good as it does. Sound mixer Mark Perfetti, audio assistant Pam Robinson. Our video director is Stephanie Fugelberg. Our camera operators are Mariana Jeffrey, Charles Holsopple, and Lisa Reuter. Our board op is Charlie Cushing, and I'm your host, Ken Apperson. Now, we do have a few comments in the AMA real quick that we will get to. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Listener comment, these guys are great. And big kudos to whoever is running the soundboard. There you go, Mark.
Nice.
You got a lot of fans out there, man.
And then Steve from Tampa wants to know what the source of the band's name is.
Oh, good question.
Which I think is a great question, yeah. So where's the name come from?
Well, I've always just been a vagabond, just from one place to the other. I just
Yeah.
can't seem to stay still. So that's part of it, you know. And then Tweed's just cool because it's on like old amps and, you know, like
I knew it was
funky
gonna be amp
jackets
related.
and just, you know, I mean, it's kind of like one of those things, but yeah.
True story. The first time Daniel and I got together with our old drummer, we went to, this was, probably 2 years ago, we went to an open stage at Crooked Thumb.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready to go on. They're like, what do you guys call it? We didn't know, you know? So we just, first thing we thought, what was it, Live Oak Lightning or something like that?
Live Oak
So
Lightning.
that's what we told people. So we got up and played 2 or 3 songs. Then we sat down, had a beer, hung out. Then they're like, hey, you guys want to come back up? And then when we went back up, we're like, well, during break, we changed our name. We're now Vagabond Tweed. And it's stayed ever since.
That's great.
Well, that's good that it stuck, because if you keep doing that round robin thing, it's going to be hard to market your band. That's
True.
for sure. So just some final comments here in the live stream, and just to let you know, the last song of the show is always, you know, it always ends up getting cut off on the radio feed. But fear not, if you want to hear the entire song and whatever hijinks we get into after that song, you can always check out the live stream, because the entire song and everything after that stays on the live stream. So Facebook, on Facebook, the live stream is WMNF Live Music Showcase. On YouTube, just search WMNF. You will find us either way. Leave a final comment if you are hanging out in the live stream right now. You guys want to take it away with one final song?
Yeah, we're going to do off our first EP. It's Stones in the Ocean.
Cool. And then we'll chat a little bit after that, too.
All right.
Yeah,
Perfect.
man.
Thank
Take
you.
it away, man.
Thanks, Ken.
This has been Live Music Showcase. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for listening.
Be here in this moment. Get about what to say. Your heart knows better anyway, so lend your ears. Stones thrown to the ocean, turning to the home one day. Eventually make their way up from the bottom. We were cast out here from this shore, made our homes out on the ocean's floor. A lonely stone among a million more. Are they just a few coming home to you? Some just need a ray of light to raise them from the depths. Some had to catch your breath, something for the ceiling. Light from the sky, a glimmer from your eye. You're too young to die, still you have that feeling. We were cast out here from this shore, made our homes out on the ocean's floor. Lonely stone among a million more. Are they just a few coming home to you? Glad to see you here again, back washed up on the shore. Stay a little more than you did last time. Find it in your heart to stay with us at home. We want no more for you to roam. We were cast out here from this shore, made our homes out on the ocean's floor. Lonely stone among a million more. Are they just a few coming home to you?
Vagabond Tweed here on Live Music Showcase. Before we go, I just wanted to share a couple more comments that came through.
Great.
Let's see. Gary says, and this was in regards, I think, to what I was saying about, marching and dancing and whatnot. And Gary says, lyrical conscience. What a concept. Love this and then some. And then Kaylee Baker says, music to throw back Molotov cocktails to.
I like that.
I like that too. Yeah, that's good.
We like Sunday Honey as well. Her band's great.
Oh, they're incredible.
I've seen them a bunch of times, and when I first moved down here, I just took it upon myself to go out and figure out who are all these local bands, and it turns out we've just got a pool of just awesome local bands.
Yeah, man.
Like Rojo Ma, we have Sunday Honey. Kyle Shaw is like another really great.
It's funny you mentioned him. He actually
local-
commented on here too. He said, "Sounding great, fellas."
Yeah.
Thanks,
So yeah.
That guy owes me $20, by the way.
Yeah, man. So before we go, I had one question, Dean. So funny story about Dean or Daniel. Which do you go by these days?
I mean, it's Daniel, but a lot of people have called me Dean my
Yeah,
whole life.
that's
like
why I got a little confused.
Mean
yeah.
Dean or whatever it was. Like
Yeah, I'm gonna call you Dean.
Yeah,
Dean
that's-
sounds cool.
That's fine.
Daniel
I'm
sounds
cool.
less cool.
Or just Gypsy Roofer.
Yeah.
Or I'll just call you
Exactly.
Gypsy,
Gypsy Roofer
yeah.
Dean or Stormy Dean. There we go.
GR.
Dean.
Yeah, Stormy Dean. Yeah, somebody said that. Yeah, that was funny. Stormy Dan was like instead of Daniels, I'm sure. But no, so we met because he was performing at a place in downtown St. Pete, and I was walking by, and I was in a bad mood, and I got stopped in my tracks because I was like, man, this guy's really good. And then he I think you gave me a card, or you showed me your stuff online, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, these guys are great. We'll have them on the radio show. And then not long ago, I was playing at the same place where I saw you playing, and you walked by, and we ran into each other, and you
Yeah.
were telling me about how you guys are recording and all of this stuff.
That was that Flute and Drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yep.
And something happened, and I want to know what happened. So from my perspective, what happened was I started talking about this concept in the music world that's known as predatory producers, and how they'll like rope a band and be like, oh, I love your song, let me record it for you, just pay me 10 grand and then we'll call it a day. And they'll record it and it'll sound amazing,
Yeah.
but they won't talk about it and they won't help you promote it, and it'll be this amazing thing that nobody ever ends up getting to hear
Yeah.
because it doesn't get into the right hands. Suffice to say, that is a version of like predatory producers out in the world of the music world. All of that to say, you were telling me about this great opportunity that you had with this producer, and my brain immediately went to the dark place, and I'm very sorry about that. Was my
No,
point.
that's okay.
But I got the sense that after that, you kind of got this look that you were like, oh man, and then you kind of like walked off with purpose, and I was curious, like, did you just like forget that you left the oven on or something, or did I say something that was offensive?
Well, no, not at all. It wasn't offensive.
Okay.
It seems like every time I bump into you, we're talking about something music related, and
Welcome
it's
to
always like food for
inside of my
thought.
brain,
So
yeah.
I'd start thinking about things, and I'm sorry if I took off like Rain Man, but
No, I was like, oh man, I probably should have just been like, that's great, congratulations, and then left it.
well, I think
Yeah.
that goes back to your comment earlier about what kind of feedback do you want to get from people? And
Yeah.
I like real feedback, and I think maybe Chaz might have something to say because it's his friend that he's known for years.
Oh,
actually,
good. Okay.
He invited us
Pre-existing
in.
relationship. That's good.
So
Yeah.
yeah, his name's Bobby Croft, and he's quite well known in certain circles. He was a studio guy down at Criterion Studios for
Okay,
15 years. He's played on many records you've heard
Wow.
on the radio for years.
that's great.
Him and I met 4 or 5 years ago. We did an All My Brothers set together, and it was kind of a one-time thing. But he called me the next day, and he's like, "Man, we got to stay in touch." And he's up in Mount Dora,
Okay.
and he has a beautiful spread there, horses, and his studio is amazing. So I've been there a few times on my own, and he's like, "Yeah, man, whenever you get something cool and you want to record up here, let me know." So we've been doing this for a few years, and I've been feeding some of it to Bobby. He's like, "Yeah, come on up."
That's
so
great.
we're
That's
going back up on the 10th of
Yeah,
August.
10th
I
of
think.
August.
Love it. And when do you think you'll have something new for us to listen to?
Hopefully,
The 11th of August.
yeah. No, I would say fall.
Fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good
Yeah,
deadline
definitely.
to hit. Yeah. Okay.
And you asked us a question about like what's the most difficult thing about recording, and
yeah.
in this situation, it's like what we're doing right now. So we're live tracking the album, and that was something new for us. And so sometimes you think you have a certain energy when you're recording it, and then 2 weeks later you go back and listen to it, and you're like, oh, we could do that better, And so I think we went in. We out of the 5 songs we recorded, I believe like 3 of them are really strong, and then 2 of them we're gonna take another go at them. And we've got a whole bunch of other songs that like even like Long Road Ahead. I recorded that 3 years ago in Louisiana, and I never released it. And that could be a song that we might end up redoing. But it's just it's great when things just kind of happen, and like with this situation we're recording now, it's not like something like what you were describing. This vulture didn't just come down and hear us and say, "Hey, can you give us $10,000?" And
yeah,
no, it wasn't that.
we'll make you into the next dad band.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that didn't.
Fair enough.
happen.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. So that's good. That's exciting. I'm really excited to hear that Vagabond Tweet's going to be having some new music to listen to by the fall. I'm like holding you guys to task on that. I wanna hear
thanks.
it,
We
man.
need that.
I really want to hear it for sure. All right, so that's our show. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. We are here every Friday at 2 p.m. New podcast episodes of the live recorded show drop every Friday after the show finishes broadcasting, so you'll get that tonight along with any other episodes you want to listen to. Just go on Spotify or Apple Music and search Live Music Showcase. That's our show. This has been Live Music Showcase. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Ken Apperson, and whether you are taking claims for insurance or learning how to roof in a gypsy fashion or learning how to play guitar without playing all the notes,
Or if you need your oil changed.
go practice.
That's right.
We'll see you guys next week. Take it easy.